And despite what some commentators want you to believe, Labour's plan for Brexit is clear and simple. It's time to take a decision out of the hands of politicians and trust the people to decide. It won't be a rerun of 2016. This time, the choice will be between leaving with a sensible deal or remaining in the EU. That is the policy. It really isn't very complicated. So, an incoming Labour government will first secure a sensible deal. That will take no longer than 3 months, because the deal will be based on terms that we've already discussed with the EU, including a new customs union, a close single market relationship, and absolute guarantees of rights and protections. It's a deal that will protect manufacturing industry in this country and respect the precious Good Friday Peace Agreement in Northern Ireland, which was one of the great achievements of the Labour Party. And then we'll put that deal to a public vote. So, if you want to leave the EU without trashing our economy or selling out of our NHS, you'll be able to vote for it. If you want to remain in the EU, you'll be able to vote for that. Either way, only a Labour government will put the final decision in your hands, because this has involved the whole country from the start. It can't now be left to politicians. To finally get this sorted and move forward, we need the people to sign on the dotted line. And we will immediately carry out your decision so Britain can get beyond Brexit. Boris Johnson staked his reputation on leaving the EU on the 31st of October. Do or die, ditches were mentioned, many things were mentioned, and lots of Churchillian language was used. No ifs, no buts, he said. So, the failure to do so, I'm sorry, can only be his, Boris Johnson's failure. The irony is, for all his boasting, Johnson's sellout deal still won't get Brexit done. It will lead to years of continuing negotiations and uncertainty. Whereas Labour's plan will sort it quickly, because whatever the final decision, we won't be ripping up our main trading relationship. The EU negotiator, Michel Barnier, has said an EU deal on Johnson's term would take 3 years, maybe more, of further negotiations. Johnson's sellout deal with Trump could take even longer. Imagine the time it would take to fill all those pork barrels in the US Senate and all the other places. Just imagine it, think about it. So, a vote for Conservatives is a vote for yet more drawn-out, bogged-down negotiations, more broken promises and more distractions from the vital issues facing us that Keir and Laura have spoken about this morning. Like making sure people have decent wages, secure homes, and, absolutely crucially in this election beyond all others, a habitable, sustainable planet for our children and our grandchildren. A green light for Boris Johnson's sellout Trump deal would just be the start of years more Brexit chaos and division. People sometimes accuse me of trying to talk to both sides at once in the Brexit debate, to people who voted leave and people who voted remain. Do you know what? They're dead right. They're absolutely dead right. Why would I only want to talk to half the country? I don't want to live in half a country. Anyone seeking to become Prime Minister must talk to and listen to the whole country. Labour stands not just for the 52% or the 48%, but for the 99%. Yeah. We bring people together. It's Labour that's determined to bring our divided country together. You can't do that if your whole political strategy is to turn one side of the Brexit debate against the other. The Tories are offering an extreme and damaging form of Brexit, while the Liberal Democrats want to ignore the result of the 2016 referendum and revoke Article 50. The Brexit crisis does need to be resolved, but it must be done democratically. Because walk down any street in Britain and you'll find people who voted to leave and people who voted to remain. Whatever our differences may be on this one issue, at the end of the day, we have so much else in common. I'd like to put it like this. If you're living here in Harlow, you may have voted to leave. You've got bills to pay. You've got rising debts. Your work may be insecure. Your wages insufficient, and you can barely stretch the money to meet the needs of you and your family. You're up against it. If you're living in York, for example, it's more likely you voted Remain. You've got bills to pay, you've got rising debts, your work is insecure, and your wages barely stretch to meet your family's needs. You're up against it. But between a Leave voter in Harlow and a Remain voter in York, you're not against each other. Labour's plan. Labour's plan will get Brexit sorted.